Thomas A. Dorsey. First thing you need to point out, this is not Tommy Dorsey, the brother of Jimmy Dorsey. This is not the big band leader. This is Thomas A. Dorsey. And if for no other reason putting him on this list, he was born in Villa Rica, Georgia. So end of discussion as to why he's
They have a sign there that actually says, "This is the church where Thomas Dorsey attended."
Really?
Yes, they do.
Cool.
I worked there today, right? You missed the church, so you have to go back into the...
Thomas Dorsey, as a young man, you know, like late teens, early 20, 21, I seem to remember he was working in a jazz club and kind of adopting the style that people in that time period, post-World War I, pre-Depression, would have adopted working in a jazz club. But he has a conversion experience in 1921, so over the next several years, he too kind of stops doing secular music and starts doing all religious music or Christian music. 1930, he performs at the National Baptist Convention. 1932, he becomes the music director at Pilgrim Baptist Church in Chicago. 1932, after the death of his wife and son in childbirth, Dorsey writes, "Precious Lord, take my hand." From 1932 to 44, he goes on several international tours with the Gospel Choral Unit. 1937, he writes "Peace in the Valley" from Mahalia Jackson, who of course makes it famous, but another person will record the song named Elvis Presley, and it achieves a level of fame which is probably beyond his wildest dreams. 1940 becomes Dean of the Evangelistic Musical Research and Ministry of Church Music for the Gospel Choral Union of Chicago. So this is kind of beyond just a single church now. This is a whole group of churches. The 60s and 70s, he goes to a lecture circuit. 1973, a tribute album with guest singers is released. 1979, he's elected to the Nashville Songwriters International Hall of Fame. 1981, he's elected to the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. 1982, elected to the GMA Gospel Music Hall of Fame. 1983, he appears in the movie Say Amen Somebody. And January 23rd, 1993, dies in Chicago. So this is an example of somebody who actually kind of receives his awards and accolades while he's still alive, which is kind of nice. But there's so many people who labor in relative obscurity in their lifetime, and then after they're dead, that's when everybody, oh, that was so wonderful. Bach comes to mind, who had been almost totally forgotten about until but that, of course, eventually changed. So it was kind of nice that Thomas Dorsey got all these awards. So why is he on the list? As I look at the kind of the timeline of his life, it doesn't really tell you why I included him on the list. Yeah, he has the two big songs, sure. But he's sometimes referred to as the father of black gospel music, and that is why he's on the list. In addition to being a gifted composer and lyricist, he started the Dorsey House of Music, which was the first black gospel music publishing company. He also started a national convention of gospel choirs and choruses. So it's really for his work as a publisher and promoter of black gospel music that he's on the list, not just because he happened to write two of the most famous songs in the history of Christianity. So Take My Hand, Precious Lord, Peace in the Valley, both popularized by Mahalia Jackson. Peace in the Valley was also recorded by Elvis Presley and John